possible, when you see anybody commenting on whether it be Zoom, but particularly Facebook, because we're expecting more people to be watching Facebook, please get involved, be interactive, comment on anything that anybody's writing, and let's make it really, really positive. Let's have lots of likes and shares and really get the momentum going tonight, because that's really what it's all about, and we want to make it a real big success. And then the same applies for every time that we're doing this. We just want to increase the number of people that are on it, and everybody will be offering the support regardless of who's doing the presentations. We all just want to really be working as a team and get as much positivity out there as we possibly can.
A song now, Sharon, please.
Would you like me to sing? How's it looking, Bearden? You're muted, Bearden.
Yeah, I'm just about to connect shortly, so I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. And just while everybody's watching tonight, I won't be monitoring my own personal Facebook because I'll be on here, but Yvonne's doing that on my behalf. So if you start seeing Digital Currency Now replying to all the comments, it'll be Yvonne that's doing it on my behalf. And again, that's another thing for anybody else that's doing this on different evenings. We'll all help each other and, you know, make sure that we're refreshing that and keeping all the comments updated and positive. I think there's still a few more people adding on right now to Zoom. So for those of you who have just come on to Zoom right this minute, a very warm welcome. If you haven't already done so, please can we ask you to share the Facebook page that we're going to be streaming on in a moment. If you could share that. We're going to be live in a minute on Digital Currency Now. That is the name of the page on Facebook. So if you haven't already shared it, if we could ask you to do that, please, that would be great. And again, it's really just about building as much momentum as we possibly can, and just really making it so positive tonight. It's going to be a really good event. It's going to be a good Facebook Live. Bearden's just putting the final touches to the technical side.
That's us ready, okay? So I'm just going to mute everybody.
Yeah.
And that's you ready just in about 5 seconds.
Good evening, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome here to our Crypto Live. We are now live on Facebook and streaming live on Zoom as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to come online and join us tonight. And we're delighted that you're going to join the conversation, and we're looking for everyone to be as interactive as possible. My name is Sharon Boskart, and really the reason that you've been invited on here tonight, whether it's myself or one of the people that have invited you on tonight, we want to inspire you, we want to motivate you, but most importantly, we want to educate you on all things digital currency. So whether this is the first time that you've heard anything about digital currency, or whether this is the 20th time that you've possibly heard this presentation, what I can assure you is that you're in for a treat tonight, because we always try and make it different, we always mix it up a wee bit, and the speakers that I'm going to be introducing to you tonight are going to be sharing all their knowledge, their expertise, their wisdom, their professionalism on all things to really try and help you to make a really good informed decision on everything digital currency. So if you've come on tonight unsure what you've been invited to listen to, by the end of this conversation, I'm sure that you will be really, really motivated and inspired, and we would ask that you go back to the person that's introduced you. Just very, very briefly to tell you about myself before I introduce you to our first speaker tonight. As I say, my name is Sharon Boskart, and I basically got involved probably June, July time last year. And really the reason that I got involved was I was introduced from a friend who works in the bank, and I really got involved basically on his credibility more than anything else, if I'm being absolutely honest. And the reason that I did that is because I was completely changed, and what I've found is that this company that you're going to be hearing about tonight, which is Onelife and OneCoin, is now groundbreaking. We are the fastest growing global company at the moment, and it's really, really exciting because I personally, as I say, was public offering, and you're going to hear about that tonight. But what's really, really exciting is that we now have the opportunity to get future certificates, which means that when we go live on the public exchange, we're going on the stock exchange in Q2 of 2018. If you're sitting watching this just now, that should get you really, really excited, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And myself and everybody else that's been getting involved over the last month, our total approach has completely changed. And I hope that excitement comes over tonight, because we'd like you to really, really listen very carefully to what we're going to say tonight, because it will be something that could potentially not to change your own life, but change the life of your friends and your family as well. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is introduce our first speaker of this evening, and his name is Bearden Oguniemi. Bearden has been with this business for probably about a year or so now. He is based in Glasgow, and he's an extremely, extremely busy guy, but he is always very selfless. He gives up his time for everybody to help them. The reason that I admire him so much is that the knowledge and the skill set that he has within this industry is mind-blowing. He has got many, many years experience in the financial industry anyway, but he has actually grown a team. It was up to about 1,000. I believe he's now got over 1,000 people that he's introduced into this business. And what he's done is he has guided and mentored and helped them to success, so much so that many people within his business have now left their day jobs, and this is their sole income. And that's quite mind-blowing, because as a lot of people, maybe if you're watching this yourself, you might be in a job whereby you don't know if there's security. It might be that obviously you might not have a pension fund. There's reasons why that you might be watching this, and I'm sure that Bearden, when you hear him speaking tonight, he will give you real good reason to take this business very, very seriously. So thank you very much, Bearden. I would like to say welcome for coming on the call tonight. We really appreciate you giving up your time. And if I could hand over to yourself, what Bearden's going to actually do is talk us through the first part of the presentation tonight. So thanks very much, Bearden.
Well, thank you, Sharon. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. That was amazing. And just to let you know, guys, Sharon is also an individual that's been helping quite a lot of people in this business. She's been doing a lot of these calls and really helping to grow her own organisation. So it's absolutely amazing. So thanks very much. So what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about cryptocurrency. We're going to be discussing cryptocurrency tonight and how that's going to impact you in the future, because it's really, really important, especially if you're a guest on this call, that you understand what's going on in the economy at the moment, and you understand how that's going to impact you in the future, because that's the only way you'll really be able to make a decision. So I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. And by keeping it simple, it means that many, many people will be able to make a decision, because moving forward, what I'm about to explain to you, it's really just a case of whether you pay attention right now or whether you have to pay attention later on. So Nelson Mandela says education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that's really so true. If we educate ourselves, then we can make an informed decision. But it all starts with what's really going on in the world tonight, what's happening with currency. And as you can see by this chart, currencies have been declining, especially the US dollar has been declining since about the year 2000. And as that begins to happen, all the rest of the currencies still start to decline. They just follow on to the US dollar. The US dollar is the major currency. Every other currency pretty much follows that. And fiat currency pretty much destroyed any currency that we had. So ever since 2000, there's been a decline. Nowadays, if governments borrow money, which affects the economy, banks print more money, that's why we have fiat currency, and that affects the value of any currency that we've got. So it's important to really understand that and understand why we need to change, why there's going to be a change moving forward. And this change is really all about looking at the new technology that's coming in, the new technology that's in place, which is blockchain technology. But first and foremost, we need to understand what is actually going on right now. Let's just count the cost of what's going on in the banking industry, because if you go and look at what's going on in the banking industry, you'll see that every single year there's various different organizations and various fines that are given out. And if you look here, you see a bank like Royal Bank of Scotland, 4 billion they've put aside for misconduct. You've got Barclays so far, 5.97 billion. So if you look at the big four banks alone, they've put aside 50 billion just for misconduct alone. And this goes on year in, year out. At Lloyd's, for example, the bill so far for the PPI misconduct has been about 13.9 billion. Yet every single day, new bank accounts are opened. Every single day, people deposit more money in the banks. And this has been going on for years. And we need to understand that the banks are really only the middlemen at the moment. So we need to look behind. We need to look at the bigger picture. We really need to understand what's going on. In addition to that, I'd just like to point out that if you look at this, 6 banks were fined over 5.6 billion over rigging of the foreign exchange markets. That's what you call market manipulation. Market manipulation goes on every single day. It's still going on to this day. It happens every single week, every single month. It's happening all the time. And this is what goes on. And you can see some of the fines that have been given out here. We've got fines of 2.32 billion by Barclays, and we've got various different fines there from RBS, JP Morgan. So I want you to really open up your mind to consider, okay, what's going on? Why do we need changes? Why are these changes coming? And how it's going to impact not only the economy as a whole, but it's going to impact the whole banking industry as well. So it's really, really important, because many people put their trust in the banks. And it's not that the banks aren't trustworthy. You've really got to make that decision for yourself. But let me just show you another slide here. So the Rothschilds are the major family behind the banking industry. I don't hear many people talking about the criminal investigation that's going on just now. And that's been going on for about over a year now. Yet again, there's so much happening in the world that we really need to pay attention to. And that's why there's a lot of change coming. That's why we have this introduction of cryptocurrency. One of the reasons we have cryptocurrency is it really takes a lot of the control away from the banks. You see, you don't need a bank to have a cryptocurrency. What is a cryptocurrency? If you imagine this note and you simply take the serial number, for example, and you recode that as a long number with hashtags, that unique number can be stored in your iPhone, for example, can be stored in your iPad or on your computer, and you can simply use that as the mode of exchange, as the currency. In order to understand that as well, you have to understand that with cryptocurrency, it's completely intangible. And that really makes no difference, because you could be exchanging anything for currency. The only reason we have paper tokens just now is simply because previously it used to be backed by gold. That was then taken away in the 1970s. But for all you care right now, it could be shells, it could be leather, it could be anything. You know, the only reason why precious stones are precious is because of supply and demand. So everything's underpinned simply by supply and demand. Now, the technology behind this is something that we call blockchain technology. And it's really important. I'm just going to play you a short video here, but before I do,
how do you know they're who they say they are? When you buy coffee that's labeled fair trade, what makes you so certain of its origin? To be sure, really sure, about any of those questions, you'd need a system where records could be stored, facts could be verified by anyone, and security is guaranteed. That way, no one could cheat the system by editing records, because everyone using the system would be watching. Systems like this are on the horizon, and the software that powers them is called a blockchain. Blockchains store information across a network of personal computers, making them not just decentralized, but distributed. This means no central company or person owns the system, yet everyone can use it and help run it. This is important because it means it's difficult for any one person to take down the network or corrupt it. The people who run the system use their computer to hold bundles of records submitted by others, known as blocks, in a chronological chain. The blockchain uses a form of math called cryptography to ensure that records can't be counterfeited or changed by anyone else. You've probably heard of the blockchain's first killer app, a form of digital cash called Bitcoin that you can send to anyone, even a complete stranger. Bitcoin is different from credit cards, PayPal, or other ways to send money because there isn't a bank or financial middleman involved. Instead, people from all over the world help move the digital money by validating others' Bitcoin transactions with their personal computers, earning a small fee in the process. Bitcoin uses the blockchain by tracking records of ownership over this digital cash, so only one person can be the owner at a time, and the cash can't be spent twice, like counterfeit money in the physical world can. But Bitcoin is just the beginning for blockchains. In the future, blockchains that manage and verify online data could enable us to launch companies that are entirely run by algorithms, making self-driving cars safer, help us protect our online identities, and even track the billions of devices on the Internet of Things. These innovations will change our lives forever, and it's all just beginning. To learn more about the urgent future of the blockchain, please visit iftf.org/blockchainfutureslab. When you vote, have you ever wondered whether your ballot is actually counted?
Okay, for some reason, I think some people said that the video wasn't playing there, so I might try that again. Sometimes when there's so many people on the call, that can happen. Anyway, I'll just explain it. Blockchain technology is the technology that underpins cryptocurrency. And as you can imagine, blockchain technology is not only going to be used for payments, but it's going to be used for things like voting, things like your identification, things like your health records. So it's a whole technology that's going to be used for a number of different things, not just one particular area. Now, R3 is an alliance. It's a consortium of over 70 institutions, major banks and investment houses that have come together to work on their blockchain technology. So we know that this is going to be the future. We know that moving forward, we're going to be looking at these, and these are some of the partners that are involved in this at the moment, major organizations. So if you know this right now, you can see that many of these are major organizations all working on their blockchain, so we know it's going to be the future. So it's important to pay attention to that. We also know that the cashless society has begun right now. Dubai, for example, is already declared cashless as of 2020, and many other countries in the world are following suit. Some of them here you can see are in the advanced stages, such as Singapore, the Netherlands, even the United Kingdom. And this source comes from MasterCard Advisors, a company called McKinsey & Company. In addition to that, we even have a village in northern India that's completely cashless right now.
दूसरे गांव में अभी पगार नहीं मिले, वो सबको अकाउंट नहीं है बैंक में कहीं भी, और डायरेक्ट कैश ही देते हैं, और यहाँ पे सबके अकाउंट है, इसलिए वो सबके अकाउंट में पैसे डाल देते हैं.
एक किलो दाल, 1 किलो शक्कर, कितना हुआ?
104 रुपये.
Apologies, it looks like we're possibly having a wee technical issue there. I don't know, Bearden, I think your screen's possibly frozen.
पहले how you
There's a video running, we're not seeing it at the moment. It's just maybe if we could just continue with the presentation.
जो महिलाएं थी, जो बुजुर्ग थे, उन सबको सिखाए. बाद में हमें दिए.
Okay, so I've stopped that video at the moment. There seems to be some sort of technical issue with Facebook, but just to let you know, guys, now the Facebook is now resumed. I don't know what happened. It seemed to have dropped off Facebook. So anyone that was waiting to get on Facebook, you can go back to Facebook. It should be streaming live. So I'm just going to pick up from here. Sorry about that. Sometimes you can't help these things. But anyway, just to let you know, the very first cryptocurrency was Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin success story, they started in January 2009. They can produce 21 million coins. And it just so happens that initially it was trading around about 10 cents. And from 10 cents, the Asia market started paying attention, and it peaked at $1,200, currently sitting around about £1,400, about probably $1,700 or thereabouts right now today. And as you can imagine, for something that started off at 10 cents to go to even today at $1,700 is amazing. That trend continues just now. They've got over 21 million coins that can be produced. They've got about 300,000 users. And Bitcoin created many people that made a lot of money. Especially I like the story of this young guy, a young student who spent $27 on Bitcoin, and turned it into $886,000. So as many of you agree, it's an amazing result for something that he probably didn't take that much time to look at, but $27 isn't really a lot of money. So it just shows you the potential of cryptocurrency. And a lot of the time I have conversations with people and people ask me the question, you know, can you still do that today with cryptocurrency? And the answer is categorically yes, you can, but only if you're educated enough to know what you're doing. So let me give you an example of that, because right now there's over 700 cryptocurrencies on the market today. That's a lot of cryptocurrencies, but the question is, how many of them will eventually survive? On top of that, probably about the top maybe 30, 40, possibly slightly more, have got any volume. In other words, when I mean volume, you know, how many people, where's the supply and the demand for a lot of these cryptocurrencies? So there will be some main players in the market eventually. We don't know who they're going to be, but certainly one of the companies that I'm going to be speaking to you about is probably one of the forerunners for that. So 99% of these coins are all about speculation today. In other words, people are just buying and selling the coins. In addition to that, as you can see here, over the last 7 days, if you take the first coin on the chart here, this coin went up over 277% over the last 7 days, and the second one over 240%. So the answer is yes, if you're trading in cryptocurrency, in other words, you're buying and selling cryptocurrency, if you know what you're doing, then potentially there's a lot to gain. And this source comes from a source called coinmarketcap.com. So the company I want to just introduce you to is a company called Onelife. Some of you might have heard of the company, some of you might not have heard of the company. And like many companies, this is a young company. It's only just over 2 years old. And sometimes when a company is young and it's not really stood the test of time, it can be open to attack. Of course, that can happen. Just like when Bitcoin was first released, and people said, you know, Bitcoin's never going to last. It's a scam. It's not going to work. It's a Ponzi scheme. Let me tell you about Onelife and why you need to pay attention. The company was established in August 2014. And
Can I just interrupt for one moment, please, because no one can see your slides? Would you like me to try and screen share with mine? Because I might have the slides here, if that helps any.
That's a bit strange. Hold on a second. Let me stop it and then share again.
Yeah, because we've still been stuck on the screen, unfortunately. Looks like there's a wee technical glitch there.
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see it now. Thank you.
Right, okay, I'm not sure what happened there, but okay, so the company started in August 2014, and the turnover, the weekly turnover, sorry, is 125 million a week in sales, which is really a substantial amount. And I'll put that into perspective in a moment. 1 billion in revenue in the very first year, and last year alone the revenue was around about 5.9 billion. So as you can imagine, that's a substantial amount, especially for a company that's really just started. I mean, 2 years old, or just over 2 years old, is really nothing. So in terms of moving forward, let me put that into perspective. So some companies that have been around for years and years and years, you've got companies like Amway, a massive company, 21 years it took them to reach $1 billion. You have companies like Avon, Herbalife, and you can see the figures. I'm not going to go through them all, but if you move on to conventional companies like Apple, took 6 years, Microsoft took about 9 years, Amazon 4 years, eBay 7 years, Google 5 years. So it just puts into perspective, you know, how difficult it is to reach $1 billion in just 12 months. In fact, it was 11 months. So the founder is a Dr. Ruja Ignatova. I wouldn't expect any of the guests that are on the call, you probably haven't heard of her. But we have an individual, a female. She's an amazing visionary. She's somebody that's created a company that reached $1 billion faster than Jeff Bezos of Amazon, faster than Steve Jobs of Apple, faster than Bill Gates of Microsoft, faster than Jack Ma of Alibaba, faster than Groupon, one of the fastest companies to reach $1 billion. So this is an individual that's creating things that haven't been done before. This makes Onelife, factual information, one of the fastest growing companies on the planet right now. And we're 2 years ahead of most of the other organizations, especially the banks. In fact, the R3 consortium started just about 2 years ago when all the banks started collaborating together to start to work on their blockchain. And we're way ahead of that right now. So let me tell you a little bit about her, because it's really important. This was one of the decisions that led me to get involved with the organization. You see, whenever you do your research, certainly I've been involved in the trading industry and been involved in financial services for a number of years. So you want to do your research in the right place. Google's probably not the right place to do your research. Things like industry magazines like Investec, and when you're looking at other places that you can really do your due diligence properly. So in order to put this into perspective in terms of Dr. Ruja, she's somebody that's got a degree in law from the University of Oxford. She's also got a PhD in law from the University of Oxford and a master's in economics from the University of Constance. She was a former associate partner, youngest associate partner of the company called McKinsey & Company, which was the global management consultancy company I mentioned previously. They do work for all the banks and MasterCard. She's achieved Businesswoman of the Year 2012 and 2014. And she's been responsible, her background is finance and banking. She's been responsible for managing various funds under management. She's also published 2 books, transferred into English, German, and Chinese. So she's somebody that's a real visionary, and she was the founder of the company. She's also taken this company to new heights. So I want you to really understand that. She's also been published in various different magazines. She was also invited by The Economist at the 4th European EU Summit, where she was one of the keynote speakers. So for me, that's something that was really key to looking at this company, because we have somebody who has expert knowledge, who's an academic and has experience in the industry, to be able to take this company forward. So amazing. So let me just tell you briefly about the company. We have various different products and services, from the mobile app builder for businesses, right through to CoinCloud, which is a business-based, cloud-based service. We have the Onelife tablet for members, and we have the DealShaker platform, which is a little bit like Groupon, and I'll discuss that in a moment. But more importantly, one of the things that Sharon said earlier on is, we're all about education. We're all about inspiring, motivating, and educating. Nelson Mandela said education is the most important thing that you can use to change the world. If you can educate yourself about cryptocurrency, then obviously moving forward, you can really profit from the industry, just like when the internet first came out. So how do you do that? So right now, if you were to buy, for example, Bitcoin, then you're buying the coins pre-mined. The coins have already been produced and you're buying the coins pre-mined. If you were to buy gold right now, usually you're buying the gold it's already been mined for. In other words, it's already been created. Now, you can't do that with Onelife. And the reason you can't do that with Onelife is because the coins aren't pre-mined. We're not on a public exchange. The coin's not public. We don't go public till next year. So at the moment, we're over 3 million. There's over 3 million members in a private community that are actually involved in creating this coin. Now, when you have 3 million members using the platform, and not only that, having an avenue where they can spend the actual currency on the platform like DealShaker, which is a little bit like Groupon, then that begins to create a mass market coin. That begins to create what you have is supply and demand. So to give you an example, we have 150,000 people getting involved on a monthly basis, which is a phenomenal amount. And the way it runs is simple. Basically, you educate yourself. You buy an education package. With your education package, you receive free tokens. And with those free promotional tokens, they are used to create the coin OneCoin. So in other words, they're mined for the coin OneCoin. And when I talk about mining for gold, you're using a shovel. As you can imagine, mining for cryptocurrency is an algorithmic calculation, which OneCoin does on your behalf, or Onelife does on your behalf. So let's look at what the coin's done so far. It started off at 50 cents in January 2015, and the value has increased 14 times today. And today, as of March 2017, it's sitting at €9.85. So I got involved back in March 2016. It was about €5.65. And I know many people that got involved, that I've spoken to, that got involved when this coin was at €1.95. So can you imagine that you'd got involved back then? And many of us hadn't heard of the company Onelife. They have a big presence in Asia, over 1 million members in China alone. So in terms of where they're going, and in terms of what the future brings, we're really excited. So let's look at how it works. So as I said, we're all about education. We have educations from level 1 to right up to level 7. And this is the only way that you can get access to the cryptocurrency OneCoin. So Onelife, to let you understand, is the first financial education company that allows you to profit, that allows you to mine the cryptocurrency of OneCoin for future potential profit. And the obligation of Onelife is quite simple. The only obligation they have is to provide you with the education package. The promotional tokens come with the package, and that's what you actually mine for the cryptocurrency OneCoin. So in the future, that will be going as we move forward, because the company has decided that they're going to do an IPO, which means they're going to float on the stock exchange. So things will change in the future. And here's how you get involved. There's various different packages. And when you're looking at any package or spending any money, certainly on anything, you're really looking at what's your affordability. At the end of the day, it's affordability and risk. And if you look at this, we have packages to suit different budgets, starting from round about 140 euros once you add on the activation fee, right up to 27,500 euros. And we also have higher packages than that. So different packages open up different levels of education, and different packages give you different promotional tokens, which are mined for the cryptocurrency OneCoin. So for some people, it's all about their education, educating themselves, and how many promotional tokens are mined for the coin. So in other words, how many coins that they end up with at the end of the day. Because any value in terms of the value, future value, is in the coins, because cryptocurrency is classed as an asset in Europe. So if you need more information about that, I'm not going to go into detail about that. Certainly just get back to the person that introduced you. This is an example of our Deal Shaker platform. So there's various things you can buy on this, right through from land to apartments, right through to cars on the platform as well. So there's over 30,000, I believe now, 30,000 merchants on this platform, and it was only launched back in February 2017. So it's really, really new. As you can imagine, moving forward, there's more and more merchants joining the platform. So we're really excited about that. We're also excited about moving forward about the IPO, because this company is not only, the coin is going on a public exchange in next year, second quarter next year, but they've announced that they're doing an initial public offering, which means they're going to float the company on an Asia stock exchange. So potentially members can potentially have the option of actually profiting from that flotation. And that really depends on how many coins you've got and how many coins you choose to exchange for what we call optional future certificates. So again, if you get back to the person that spoke to you about this, they'll be able to explain more. So the step-by-step process is you decide what level of education you want to buy. That comes with your package. You then get your free tokens. You wait for a split to happen on the system. You have that option of waiting for a split where your promotional tokens are doubled. Once that happens, you submit them to the mining pool. Onelife mine them on your behalf. They go into the exchange. You get your OneCoins, and the availability is you can wait till next year. You can decide what you want to do with them, or you can spend them on the Deal Shaker platform. And that's the step-by-step process moving forward. So I hope that gives you a general understanding of how to get involved. So it's really just a question of whether people decide to become a pioneer or become a user, because we know it is the future. Just like Facebook, when Facebook first came out, many people had MySpace. Where's MySpace today? We have Apple today. Microsoft is still there. However, most people these days prefer Apple products, especially kids, such as iPhones, iPads, and nowadays Macs. When the Mac first came out, it was mostly used by graphic designers. So today we already have Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies, but now we have Onelife and we have OneCoin, and certainly, you know, they're making a difference. So really the decision is yours. The other thing I'd like to say before I finish off this section and hand back to Sharon is, at the end of the day, you know, the decision is everybody. We're just simply here to provide you with some information, and that's what we're attempting to do here. And by giving you the correct information, you can make a decision. But one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg said is that when he invited 5 people to his Harvard dorm room to discuss a business opportunity, 2 people turned up, those 2 people got in. Today they're billionaires. So to me, nothing's more expensive than a closed mind and a missed opportunity. So I hope that gives you an idea about how to get involved with Onelife. I can only apologise for the technical challenges. Sometimes these things happen. I have no idea what happened. And with that, I'd just like to pass you back to Sharon just now, and you know, she can take it from here.
Okay, thank you very much, Bearden. And it is a shame about the technical thing, but this is what happens when we go live, so no problem at all. But I think Bearden's done a really, really good overview and given everybody, you know, the basic information about digital currency. What I would say is that for whoever has invited you on to the call tonight, please get back to them once we're finished this evening, because they'll be able to elaborate on in a bit more depth. But really tonight's all about giving you a good overview, and Bearden's done a fantastic job of that. So thank you very much, Bearden, that was great. So what I'd like to do next is hand over to our guest speaker for tonight, and it gives me great pleasure to do this. The next speaker that we have, his name is Andy Cope. He is based down south, and he is one of the he's one of the busiest guys that I know, and I say this in the nicest possible way. I've never seen anybody that works like this guy, and I think when he was in Glasgow yesterday, he came all the way up with his partner Nikki. They work together as a team, and he was basically saying he's got 12 months to work like he's never worked before, and that is exactly what he's doing. He is leading by example, and there's a reason that he's working like he's never worked before, and I'm sure he'll want to explain that to you. But he is a very busy guy. He and his partner Nikki have built a global team. I've got a fantastic, really big team from lots of different countries all over the world. And what they're doing is they're helping and guiding and training and coaching 24/7 and helping as many people as they can to change their lives. And he's very, very successful in doing that. I think it's nice to say that what I heard him saying yesterday is the reason that he's doing this is really to leave a legacy for his son. And I think there's no better reason sometimes to do that. And everybody's involved in this business for a reason. Everybody's got their own why. And I think that's what's driving him and Nikki. So it's lovely to hear that. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is hand over to Andy. And hi, Andy, are you there?
Hi, Sharon. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you perfectly, thank you, and a very, very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. That introduction was incredible. I will pay you later for that. Thank you so much for inviting me on the call. I feel very privileged and honoured to be on a call with such individuals as yourself and Bearden.
Oh, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. And I think the reason that we wanted to invite you on tonight, Andy, is because there's a lot of people who's going to be watching live right now who have never been exposed to digital currency. They don't really know what it is. The chances are they're probably thinking, well, why would I want to get involved? And I thought this would be a really nice opportunity for us tonight to have a chat with you, to ask you some questions and hear from your perspective the reasons why that you wanted to get involved. And the first question, if you don't mind, I'd like to kick off with is just really asking you, how did you actually get started and how have you got to where you are today? Talking us through, the struggles, the good times, the bad times to get to obviously the very successful stage that you are at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Yes, of course. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're listening or watching this through Facebook. It's great to see so many people on the call. My journey in this company started just over 1 year ago, really. It's about 1.5 years ago now, actually. Time's flying. And when I first saw this, I was with my partner, Nikki, and we were told by a friend of ours about this company, which has got digital currency, and there's potential to, make, a lot of money in the future with digital currency. So it's something that we should maybe take a look at because that's the future. And we're not technical, we're not experts in this field, and we don't know much about cryptocurrency, but what we had heard about was Bitcoin. And we actually heard about Bitcoin in 2010, early 2009 when it first came out. We saw an advert on Facebook, and we were living actually in Scotland at the time. And I can remember sitting down on the sofa next to Nikki, and I said, Nikki, check this out. It's this thing called Bitcoin. And she said, well, what is it? I said, well, I think it's some sort of money that you can't see, but it looks exciting. I think it might be the future. And we did a little bit of research, and we went onto Google, and we asked our friends and our family. And of course, I went to my mum and my dad and told them about it. And I respected their opinion, because they were in business.
Yeah.
They said, Andy, I'm not sure, digital currency, really? Best sticking off doing what you're doing, So I listened to people around me, and I just kind of put it to one side. And then, as we know, Bitcoin went on to become a global success around the world. For people that didn't even know anything about it, it was all about timing with Bitcoin. And, looking back, if me and Nikki had gone by our gut instinct and thought, as entrepreneurs, this makes sense to us, this is something that we need to take a look at. Unfortunately, we didn't. But looking back now, we would have made a lot of money just from the value of the coin rising. And as we know, Bitcoin right now is at an all-time high. I think it's around $1,700 right now, just over. And It's getting bigger and bigger, and it's getting more widespread around the world, especially with social media. So we've been following digital currency ever since, even though we still weren't experts. We understood that it's popular, it's there, it's working, but we still didn't know the technicals. We didn't know how it worked, how you used to mine coins, what a blockchain is. I'm not the most technical guy. I didn't go to university, but I'm someone that's ambitious. And when I see something, it excites me that I want to know more. So think, Bitcoin value went up, Bitcoin value went down, and more cryptocurrencies came, hundreds and hundreds came, hundreds and hundreds went. Scott Coin, I think Scott Coin, people in Scotland created a coin called Scott Coin. Donald Trump created a coin, which actually went up in value. So anyone can create a digital currency. That's what I do know. So then when I first saw Onelife and OneCoin, something was different. Something stood out to me. This was something that just wasn't a coin. There was a vision behind this. It was all about, for me, the one thing that really inspired me about this company was Dr. Rouge's vision about helping the unbanked people in the world. Mm-hmm. And I believe, living in the UK, we're very fortunate. We don't actually necessarily know what's going on around the world in terms of poverty. I didn't know that so many billions of people were unbanked. I just didn't know that. We're not taught this at school. So I educated myself in how will she help the unbanked. And after doing my research and reading about Dr. Rouge and actually, finding out information about it, this is someone with a credible background. Compare that to Bitcoin, where we don't know anything about it. We don't know who created Bitcoin. Okay, we don't know who did that. So that was good for me. Dr. Rouge was a tick for me. Very credible source of information, someone that's very passionate about building a successful global currency which everyone can benefit from. Not just the people that are technically gifted or people that have the funds to, buy the hardware, to actually mine Bitcoin, which is what happened back in the day. So we started, even though we didn't know anything about it, we thought this is good. I think timing's everything. We believe that this was an opportunity that will not come again in our lifetimes, because we've seen opportunities come and go. And we thought, we've just got to do this, because just what if Dr. Rouge is right and one day we do go IPO? Because back then, that was just a vision. What if one day, I can remember saying to Nikki, imagine if merchants accept this digital currency, imagine what will happen. And, at this point, we just had a vision. We had a coin, we had a network that was building around the world, and we had Dr. Rouge's vision. That was about it. And we had a website. So there wasn't much to go on, but our gut instinct said that this is something that's going to be incredible. So we started. And the more we educated ourselves through the product, the One Academy, we realized that it's not just about digital currency that it teaches you about all forms of financial education, things that we should have been taught about at school. We're not taught how to manage our finances. We're not taught how to do our tax returns. We're not taught how to make smart business decisions. And from being in business myself, I only wish I had something like One Academy when I was at school. But unfortunately at school, we're not taught these things. We're taught to kind of, keep in our box, our box of society, where we go to university, we work hard, we wake up, we go to work, we come back, we sleep, and do that for 40, 50 years, and you get your pension, and everyone lives happily ever after. And to be honest, that's what most people do. And that's completely fine, but I'm not one of those people. I always wanted to be different. I always wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to do something that would make my family proud. And then when we saw the long-term vision of this company, it all came back to our 4-year-old son, because it's going to be him that's benefiting from this more than us. The way that the digital world is changing on a day-to-day basis, doctor surgeries, you check yourself in now. You pay money into the bank. So many jobs are being lost left, right, and center. I saw a report the other day that in the future, in the next few decades, the average desktop computer will outperform every single human brain on Earth combined. Now that's scary. That's going to happen in my lifetime. Imagine what it's going to happen when our son gets 18, 19. Are there going to be many jobs for him? Or is it all going to be run by technology? So we want to educate our son about the future. Even though he's 4, he knows what we do, and he sees the world around him changing already. And for a 4-year-old, that's quite scary. So I think it's important that we educate people. So that's what our product is. And not only can we benefit from the value of this coin rising, but we can educate people around the world and give them the opportunity to be part of what I believe is a global revolution, something that's not going to just financially help people around the world, but literally change millions of people's lives. Now, there may be people on this call that think that's just crazy, Andy, you're a madman. Well, that's how strongly I believe in this company. It took me a long time to get all this information. I didn't understand it all at once, but I realized that this is happening with or without me. It doesn't matter how much due diligence I do, how many people I speak to, how many documents I read on Google, how many blogs I read on Google. It's happening. It's the fastest growing network in the world. It's one of the largest companies in the world. You know, just got a new CEO, Pierre Ahrens. You know, he was a merchant banker, huge success. This is a gentleman that looked at this company for 5 months before he started. Now, he's a lot more smarter than me. So he took 5 months to do his research, and the green light was good for him. So if it's good for him, it's good enough for me. You know, I didn't have that at the time. I just went on what Dr. Ruja, her vision. And when I actually went to meet her, I actually had the privilege of meeting her in Bangkok. It's a global event last year. And when you actually meet this woman, you realize how humble she is. It's not about creating this coin, you know, there's so much more behind it. This company's only just started. There's so much more to come. So like the timing, like for people right now, is incredible because everything's been ticked off. Everything that Dr. Ruja has said has happened. I didn't have that when I started. So for people that were waiting, or I want to wait and see, you know, if we can do this, if we can do that. You know, we were in Glasgow with you guys just yesterday, and we used our digital currency to buy burgers and hot dogs. It's happening, guys, you know, so it really is incredible. This opportunity, you know, it's really changed our lives in so many ways, but I know I've gone on, that's like a long answer to your question, but I think you can understand, you know, I needed to say all of that because I'm very passionate about this. And from when I started to now, my passion is just tenfold. It's on another level because I know that we're only just started. We only just scratched the surface of this company. So yeah, very, very excited.
And your enthusiasm, it's just infectious and it comes across. And that's one of the reasons that we can all see why you're so successful, Andy, and that's great to see. Coming back to what you touched on earlier, though, you mentioned that you had looked at Bitcoin and for whatever reason you didn't do it. And I speak to people daily who mention to me they did the same thing, and isn't hindsight fantastic? And I think your point is as well, now is the time for so many people that had the chance 5 years ago, didn't do it. They've missed the boat now. This is the time, and that's why you keep drumming it into everybody. And you're so right. There only is 12 months now because we will never get this chance in our lifetime again. So you're absolutely right.
You won't get this chance again. You know, Bitcoin it's all over the world. People, you know, all over the world know about Bitcoin, but there aren't that many Bitcoin users. If you actually look at it, OneCoin has got 10 times as many users as Bitcoin has, and we're a company that's only 2 years old. How long's Bitcoin been around? You know, so we're in 195 countries around the world. Bitcoin isn't. You know, we've got so many thousands and thousands and thousands of merchants already. You know, Bitcoin, I think, has got 150,000 merchants. Maybe Bearden might be able to elaborate on that, but it's not got that many merchants. 150,000 is good, but they've been around for a long time. Now we've got over 30,000 merchants already, and that's just in a couple of months. You know, this company's growing by thousands and thousands of people on a weekly basis around the world, and it's all through education. It's by people explaining what this company is about, what the vision for this company is. And you know, I was driving down the motorway from Scotland today, and my car broke down, and I was stuck in the middle of the mountains. But that didn't bother me because I saw people driving past and they were in a rush, and I had my mobile phone, I had my technology, and I was making phone calls about this business, setting up appointments, because we can't waste any time with this. I could have sat in my car and I could have felt sorry for myself waiting for 2.5 hours, but I just got on with things because guess what? We do only have one life, and we need to make the most of every single minute. And this opportunity is changing lives every single minute around the world. While we're on this call right now, there's people studying their One Academy around the world. There's people whose lives are actually changing right now as we speak in continents all around the world. And I think that's inspiring. We're touching every single corner of the planet. It doesn't matter what race, religion, culture, educational backgrounds. Everybody can be part of this community, one of the fastest growing network in the world, and profit. What could be better than that?
Absolutely. One of the questions I was going to ask you, Andy, but I'm not going to because I think you've covered it, was why specifically Onelife, but I think you've explained that with Dr. Ruja and the vision, and you totally get that. So you've covered that really, really well. One thing I was maybe going to ask you just for 2 minutes to give us a quick rundown for people who don't know about the business at all. Last weekend, I know that you were in Glasgow yesterday with us this weekend, but the prior weekend you were in Macau for the global conference. And obviously there was just 4,500, just under 5,000 people attended that from all over the world, which is phenomenal. You were there, you experienced it firsthand. Could you take just 2 minutes just to give us a wee rundown on what you actually experienced and what you saw with your own eyes?
Of course. I went to the first, my first global event for this company was in Bangkok last year. So I've experienced a global event. I realised how powerful they are. And I had my projections of what I thought Macau would be like, because I've been to an event before. But when I arrived in Macau, it just blew me away. I didn't realise how big this company is in Asia. For example, there's over 1.1 million members of this company in China alone. And wow, you think I'm excited? You should have seen the people in Macau. They're just on another level. People's cars are branded with this company. You know, people are wearing t-shirts branding this company because it's changed their lives. You know, people, they just see so far ahead. I don't know what it is, but they just see so far ahead. We know that the Asian, China, they're so far ahead when it comes to technology than we are. I remember going to Thailand many years ago, seeing TVs on a phone 5 years before they came out in the UK. So we know when it comes to technology, they know their stuff. So the fact that they're growing so quickly tells me one thing: they know what's coming. And when I went there with some of my business partners from the UK and from Europe, we were just a minority. Now, I thought that we were pretty big in Europe, but going from Macau, seeing Dr. Ruja on stage again, sharing her vision again for the next 12 months, talking about the IPO, going onto the stock exchange, as Beardham was mentioning, the merchant platform, having guest speakers flying in from all over the world who are like, you know, real experts when it comes to economy and growth and digital changes and technology, and people from other companies coming to talk about how big and what an impact this company has had on the world. Not just in this industry, but in the world. You know, the world is changing at such a quick pace. We need to prepare ourselves as human beings. We need to prepare ourselves. And it's this company that's actually going to help so many people understand the future. And I think for me, what I brought back from Macau is that this company, long after IPO, is going to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. There's so much more to come. Some things, you know, they touched on. They obviously can't give too much away, but this is just a small piece of the Onelife pie. It really, really is. You know, our core focus, our core product is education, but through education, so much more can come. And the bigger the network grows, the more opportunities there are for people all around the world as well. So my belief is that this company is going to go from strength to strength to strength. But what really excites me and also scares me is that we do have 1 year. We have 1 year to make this network as big as possible, because in the next year, so many hundreds of thousands of lives around the world, normal people on this call, anybody can really change their lives through what's going to happen in the next year with this company. You know, you can, when people have coins, you know, they have the option to either spend them on Deal Shaker, or they have the opportunity to have OFCs, which we've talked about, you know, shares when the company goes to IPO in the future. So that's a decision that we need to make as individuals. You know, I know what I've done, I know what I'm doing, I know what my belief is, but it doesn't matter what I believe, it's what people believe. It's what you believe, Sharon, it's what Beardham believes, it's what Bali, you know, it's what Yvonne believes, everyone on this call. You know, if you're a guest on this call, then you'll understand when you go through the process and you understand how it all works. But that comes through education. You know, it took me a long time to get to where I am now. You know, the only difference is that I saw this a few months before you did. That's the only difference. And look how things have changed. Look what's happened in Scotland. Merchants in Scotland, left, right, and centre. Just several months ago, no one knew about this in Scotland. Yeah. And it's all through word of mouth. And that's how incredible this company is. I'm excited. I tell people about this company and they want to know. You know, my mum and dad are saying, I need to know what this is. You know, I can remember this Bitcoin thing. What is it? This digital currency. Sit down, show me. You know, what do I do? So, I need to sit down. They've been telling me for months and months and months, but now they're really, really saying, Andy, what's going on? You've just come back from Macau. I've seen the photos. This company's huge, you know, multi-billion euro company. I need to know more. And so people that aren't even involved in this industry they're picking it up from left, right, and centre through social media. It's going so quick. So Macau is so exciting. I know the next global event is going to be the next few months. Fingers crossed it might be in Europe. So that would be really exciting if it is, because I know that it's, you know, for people to really understand the vision, they have to be at an event like that. Events really do open people's minds, see people firsthand, hearing stories, not like my story, but people, you know, who are at the top of this industry that, you know, just a few years ago knew nothing about digital currency, not educated at all, but now they're hugely successful through education. So yes, Macau was absolutely amazing. I'm so fired up. That's why, you know, we came up to Glasgow. We wanted to share all the information with you. I know you guys are fired up because of what we shared and what's coming. You know, I'd love to share all that information on the call tonight, but I know we're limited with time. So it's really important that, you know, everyone who's a guest on this call gets back to you guys and says, what is going on with this company? Why have we got 1 year before? What needs to happen in the next year? And trust me, guys, you know, the timing is absolutely perfect, because going back to what I said, it was just a vision when I started. I went on my gut instinct and my belief, but now everything's backed up. Whatever anybody says, it's there. It's happened. It's happened. The merchant, the IPO, everything, CEO, it's happened. So incredible. Macau really has just opened my mind to another eyes to another level. So I'm ready to go for the next year. I'm just going all out. I'm cancelling birthdays. I'm cancelling dinners. Nikki, I'm cancelling dinners and dates out. I've just said that to her now. But I know that she's already thought that, because we haven't got time for that. We can do that after next year. Now it's our responsibility to go out and speak to as many people as possible, because there are people who are waiting for an opportunity like this, but they're unaware of it. So we have a duty of care to Dr. Ruja to educate people, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Fantastic, Andy. So enthusiastic. It's brilliant. And just before the close, what I was going to ask you is, for anybody that's looking for a wee bit of advice on how to become as successful as you potentially have been in this business, if there was 3 wee nuggets that you could give them, what would they be? Just briefly.
3 nuggets. Okay. The first thing I think, which is really important, is people need to surround themselves with positive people. What I've learned from my mentors in this industry, that, you know, I've been involved, you know, in this industry for around 3 years now, and there's a lot of people out there that try and make you feel bad about what you do. You know, you shouldn't be doing something like this. You know, you're not an expert in this, so why would you do this? You know, you can't tell me about this digital currency. And they'll try and talk you down and say it's not going to happen. You know, the company's not going to go IPO. Dr. Ruja's not a real person. You know, because there's stuff on Google, we know that. But I've eliminated all negative people in my life, and I did that about 6 months ago. There's a lot of negative people out there. And one negative person can just make a lot of difference to, you know, a lot of people. And that's not right. So you need to surround yourself by people that understand where you are. Like everyone in this call, like yourself, like Bearden, like the girls who are on the group. Mindset is so important. So if you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to be positive. It's as simple as that. If you wake up and you see your Facebook feed full of positive things, then you're going to feel good. So why do you have negative people on your Facebook? Just remove them. I've realized that life's too short. We haven't got time to mess about and defend our choice, you know, to back, you know, say, you know, defend why we're doing this company. We don't need to do that. We know what we've got is gold, and we know that this is the best opportunity. So I only want to be around positive people, and that's probably what's rubbed off on me and people that I work with, because, you know, I believe in the law of attraction, and positive people attract positive people. If you're one of those miserable people that are just not happy where they are in their life, they're just going to attract negative people. Do you know what? And I haven't got time for that. If that's what they want to do, then they can do that. So for me, I just don't care about those negative people. You know, they make their choices. Whatever happens to them from what they've done, the choices they've made in life. So every choice that I make is going to be positive. Every single choice is going to be positive. And moving on to nugget number 2, moving on to that positivity, I really think that people should read. And this all comes back to education, reading something positive every single night. I know so many people that go to bed at night and they flick through Facebook and they look at YouTube and they look at depressing videos or things that just aren't inspiring, and they go to bed and they wake up with a negative mindset because they've gone to bed with a negative mindset. So why not just read 10, 15 minutes of a positive book? Book some successful people. Because I want to be successful like successful people, like my mentors. So I copy them. I read and I copy them. I've got a book here that I'm reading right now. I've read it several times. It's one of my favourite books, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. One of the most important books in my life. You know, 5 years ago, I only read books if they had pictures in them. I wasn't a guy that liked to read, you know. And then I moved to audiobooks. But now, just a chapter of this a night just fires me up, because you just realise what potential we have as individuals. People say there's no opportunity in life. That's rubbish. There's so many opportunities in life, okay? Passing over opportunities repeatedly. You know, people say, you know, people do that every single day. There's so many opportunities out there, and we just got to reach out and grab them. And unless we understand how to find those opportunities, how to find those people, how to attract those opportunities into our life, you know, we're not going to do it. So read every single day. There's many books. This is just one. And then the final one, oh, let me think. I want to end on a good one. So, okay, so be thankful for what you have. A lot of people try to blame where they are right now for what's happened in their life. I know everybody's got issues and everyone's got stuff going on, but we really need to start the day and be thankful for what we have. I was talking about the unbanked people in the world. You know, here, you know, if I'm having a bad day, you know, I just kind of take a step back and just say to myself in my head, what am I thankful for? You know, I live in an amazing country. You know, I've got a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful son. I've got friends that support me. I'm very lucky, you know, to live in a house, you know, to have clean drinking water every day. Things that people take for granted, you know, we take too much for granted. You know, and when after being in this company, I realised what's out there in the world. And I think just by taking a moment every day to be thankful for what you have, again, I think it's the law of attraction. What you put out to the universe, you will receive tenfold. So if just say positive messages every single day, have a dream board, have a vision board, write down your goals, and also have your why. Your why is so, so important for a business. Why would you do this? Why Onelife? Why OneCoin? Is it because you want to have a few coins that you can't see? Do you want to buy something on Deal Shaker? It needs to be deeper than that. It needs to be 5-10 years ahead. For me, my why is my boy, our son. You know, in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years' time, you know, when his great-great-great-great-grandchildren, you know, want to ask about me, I don't want him to say this is a guy that just strolled along in life and didn't take any action, you know, wasn't a dreamer, you know, just kind of got by life and then just passed on. I want to be remembered as the person that's responsible for changing my family tree forever. And guess what? This opportunity is going to do that. No other opportunity is going to do that. It doesn't matter how many houses you have, real estate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you've got in the bank right now. It's being part of a company which is so much more than money. This, what we're doing right now, this company, the next year, it's going to go down in history books. People will be studying this in 20, 30, 40, 50 years to come at university. Can you remember when that financial shift happened, that revolution, that digital revolution, with company with digital currency helping the unbanked? Can you remember that in 2018? Wow. Oh yeah, my great Uncle Andy was there. So for me, I'm thinking that far ahead. I'm not just thinking next year, I'm thinking 100 years down the line. So yes, definitely think about your why. So I think I did 4 or 5 then. So sorry, I went over.
Fantastic. No, that's really good. Really good information. I think not just for people that haven't seen or been exposed to digital currency, but for us, we still learn something every single time we hear you speaking. So that was really, really good. Thanks so much, Andy. We really appreciate you taking the time. Amazing. And we'll be seeing you very soon, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. You know, you guys are doing an incredible job. I'm learning a lot from you, and I was making notes earlier when you guys were talking about the business, because we all learn from each other. You know, I'm no expert in this business, but what I do is that I try to learn from as many people as possible. And I think that's why this company is going from strength to strength, because we've all got so many skills and insights and backgrounds that can help this business push to the next level. So yes, thank you, Beard, and thank you, Sharon, for inviting me onto this call. It's an honor and a privilege to be invited with such guys as yourself, who's having huge success. I know you guys are helping a lot of people around the world, and what you're doing in Scotland is very, very inspiring. So I can't wait to see you guys soon. I'm coming up very, very soon.
Good. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon, Andy. We appreciate it. Cheers.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye. So thanks for that. And what I'd like to do now is if we can hand back to Bearden now, if that's okay. But I think just in summary, I mean, what we've heard first of all is Bearden done a really good overview. I know that we had the wee technical glitch, but a really good overview of what digital currency actually is. And I think that from listening to someone with the knowledge and the skill, and when I'm saying the knowledge and skill that Andy's got, is he's saying he's only been doing this for a year, and it just shows that in the space of a 12-month period, how much you can actually learn and how much you can actually change your life. It's really, really inspiring, but that's what we're all aspiring to be, in a similar position to Andy and Nikki. And you know, it's open to everyone, whether you're 18, whether you're 80, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you've got the best education in the world or no education. This is something, it's a level playing field for everyone, and that is what I love about this business so much. So yeah, I think what I'd like to do is if I can hand back to Bearden now to close, if that's all right.
Okay, fantastic, Sharon. Thank you very much. So I think hopefully everyone will agree that you know, that was fantastic information from Andy there. Amazing information that he shared. Certainly, I've been taking notes frantically, especially the nuggets that he shared. So I just want to finish off. I know we've been on this call for a while. Just before I hand back to Sharon, but it's really just to give people an indication that not only can you get involved in the education side with Onelife in terms of the cryptocurrency, mining the tokens for cryptocurrency and educate yourself, you also have an opportunity right now to get involved in the business side. And this is purely optional. So not many, you know, you don't have to do it. If you choose to do it, that's fine. And Richard Branson said that if someone offers you an amazing opportunity, you're not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. And this is from an individual that started so many companies. Many of them have been successful and many of them haven't, but he just keeps on going. Sometimes it's all about consistency. And let me just explain, with Onelife, you have the opportunity to earn an income weekly if you choose to join the company and promote the business. As I say, it's purely optional. They use a referral marketing model, and it's having an understanding of how the model works. But first and foremost, just to let you know, there's 4 bonuses. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think the most important thing is that from the information we've shared tonight, if you need more information, if it's something that you think, you know, I would be interested, then it's all about getting back to the person that introduced you to this and they can explain things in more detail. So there's 4 types of bonuses. The first one is a startup bonus. The second is a direct sales bonus. The third one is a network bonus. And the 4th type of bonus is a matching bonus. And as you can imagine, these 4 bonuses do different things. All the bonuses are calculated within the week and they're paid 1 week later on a Monday. 60% goes into your cash account, which you can withdraw straight away. The other 40% goes into your trading account, of which you can use to buy more coins. Current value of the coin is €9.85. Now, with the exception to that is the startup bonus, and 100% of that startup bonus, which is a fast start bonus, goes into your trading account. So again, in terms of more detail about the bonuses, the person that introduced you can explain that more. But what I really want to discuss is to give you an indication that when you see an industry like this industry, and this is a site, MLM Business for Home, and if you go on this site, it shows you the top 200 earners in the whole of the referral marketing industry, in other words, the network marketing industry. And from this chart, I've just taken the top 10. Now, the top 10 you'll see here, 7 out of the top 10 are from Onelife. Now, this is a company that's only been established just over 2 years. That alone is enough for people to start paying attention. When you see leaders from around the world joining this company, we have number 4, Dexter and Birdie Yeager. They're from a company called Amway, massive company, been established for years, you know, best part of 40 years, I think. 1.3 million a month is their income. They're number 4 on that chart. For 17 years, they were number 1 on that chart. And as you can see, they've been knocked off the chart. And I reckon in the next few months, we'll see more and more people from Onelife, if not 90% of the top 10, probably all of the top 10. And this is only the top 10. So you can go on this site and you can browse the site and you see many people from Onelife. This is what we really call a trend. When you see a trend developing like this, then sometimes it's really important that we begin to pay attention. So what is the vision for the future? Now, Dr. Ruja's vision as the founder of this organization and the visionary is 10 million users and 1 million merchants on the DealShaker platform in the next 2 years. And that was set back in June 2006. At the moment, we have over 3 million members. Now, could you imagine that within the next year, we have 10 million users? That would be fantastic. But what if we only have 5 million users? What if we only have 4 million? Even if no more members join, we've still got over 3 million members compared to Bitcoin, that's got over just about 300,000 users and 1 million merchants on the DealShaker platform. So this is a platform very similar to Groupon that's just been launched. We have over 30,000 merchants just now, and the goal is to create 1 million merchants. What does that create? That creates usability. It's creating a mass market coin. It's creating usability within the coin. And everything is really about supply and demand and usability. If you can create usability, that can be anything. It doesn't need to be cryptocurrency. So it's really important that you understand where we're going, what we're doing with this, or what's happening with this organization in terms of the company floating on the stock exchange, and how if you pay attention now, you can really profit potentially from this organization. Now, if you look at a company like Snapchat, for example, that floated recently, people made a lot of money from Snapchat. Snapchat's just a simple application. It's not the best one out there. But what creates the value? Of course, it's the users. What creates the value in Facebook? The users. What creates the value in Google? The users. Because if that wasn't the case, then why do most people not use Yahoo today? Why do people not use Bebo today, for example? So it's really important to understand that concept. And I hope that gives you an overview of not only the cryptocurrency and the education side of things, which is really, really important because it's all about education, but also about how you can get involved in the business side if that's something you're interested in. And with that, I'd like to hand you back to Sharon, and she'll take it from here.
Thank you very much, Bearden. That was excellent. So I think hopefully tonight, we know that the call's been on for over an hour, but hopefully you found it very beneficial. And really tonight, it's just to give you an overview about digital currency. There's absolutely no way they would expect anybody to understand it completely. And that's the reason why we would say is the next step really from here is to get back to the person that's introduced you onto the call tonight. And what you want to be asking them for is to set you up initially with a free account, because everybody that's watching this tonight, if you don't have one, you can get set up with a free account. What is the benefit of that? It gives you 2 weeks to have access to the back office with Onelife. It lets you go in and do all your research. It lets you, navigate your way around, and really to help you also to make an informed decision. The person that you have been invited on by as well, they will be wanting to get in contact with you. I would suggest that after this call, give them a call, get a note in the diary, make arrangements to meet up with them for a coffee tomorrow or the day after, because do you know what? As Andy said earlier, time is of the essence. There really is a sense of urgency about this now, and really timing couldn't be more perfect. This is the time now to get involved, and sometimes, I love the saying, to get the things you've never had, you have to do the things you've never done. Sometimes you just have to be brave. If you're maybe sitting in the fence thinking, well, I'll wait another couple of months to see what's going to happen, all that's going to happen is you're going to be losing out on money. This is the time to get involved. And as I say, in terms of excitement within this business, the fact that we know that in 12 months, our lives are going to change, because when the company does go public, the people that get involved at this stage, we are really the pioneers who will benefit now. So thank you very much for taking the time to come on tonight. Please do get back in touch with the person that's spoken to you. Please get yourself set up definitely with a rookie account. And we will be doing more of these Facebook Live presentations on a regular basis. So keep an eye on the Facebook pages and we will keep you posted. But thank you so much for taking the time to come on tonight. Good night.
Thank you, Sharon. Good night, everyone. Feel free to open up your mic if you want to say good night.
Good night. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Well done, Sharon. Well done, Pardon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Remember, we're here in Crypto Live, so join us again soon, please.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank